Welcome back to Live Fully with Naketa Ren Thigpen and my special, amazing new friend, Lia Garvin. Lia is phenomenal. She's been a guest on the BBP. For those of you who are absolutely new to the Live Fully LinkedIn live Twitter feed streaming thing, the BBP is the Balance Fully podcast where you go to get tools for your work life and your love. Here on Live Fully, we're taking something specifically because Leah was dropping gems, honey, gems all day long on the BPP. I really had a hard time deciding, like, what are we going to go deeper on? But it was sitting right in front of my face, right in front of me through the title of her new book that will be available right now. It comes out April 5th. Make sure you bookmark it in Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, or as Austin Kleon would say, go to your local bookstore and give them some love and request if it's not on their shelf that it gets on their shelf. So let me tell you the title of the book. It is Unstuck, Reframe Your Thinking to Free Yourself from the Patterns and People that Hold You Back. I had to double check because I wanted to say it correctly. Leah, tell us all about your book, specifically about the patterns that we are all having a hard time breaking.
So first, thank you so much for having me on. This is my first LinkedIn Live, so I'm super excited to be here and absolutely excited to be back with you. I mean, our conversation was so much fun. Any of the people that have already heard it know how we were just laughing the whole time, and
So much.
it was awesome. So patterns, yes, and one thing to note in the title, there's a little thing at the bottom that says "spoiler alert." Some of those people are you. And so some of the work with getting unstuck is about recognizing when we are falling into the same patterns, when we are getting in our way, and both recognizing that, especially for women in the workplace, there is a ton of stuff that's thrown at us around biases and expectations and messages we're given. And then sometimes, many times I would say we start attaching and believing those stories and believing this
Yeah.
to be true. And our inner critic starts sort of running with those. And that's where I think that we can sort of move away and recognize when that's happening and start pushing against those messages. And
Mhm.
so, some of the patterns I think that we can get stuck around in the workplace. One that we specifically talked a lot about on the episode was communication patterns that
Yeah.
really get in the way of articulating our impact around our work.
Mhm.
And this is something I really, really struggled with. I believe I fell into the pattern of thinking, if you talk about your work, you're bragging or showing off, or
Woo.
nobody cares, and, and sort of getting in this narrative of, oh, who am
Mhm.
I to think I'm an expert in that? And not only is it completely not true, um, nobody else is really thinking that. That's just a message we're believing, and we're
Yeah.
actually preventing ourselves from getting our ideas out in the world. Ideas that would be helping people or
Yeah.
benefiting other people, or just the ability to build connection and community. And so first is recognizing, hey, this narrative is something I don't need anymore. I can get rid of this.
Absolutely. Yeah,
And yeah,
it's the old self. I was thinking back to a couple of things that we talked about on the podcast that sparked a bunch of ideas after. By the way, I laughed so hard when I was replaying it. I don't even listen to most episodes because you don't really want to hear yourself talking like
yeah.
over and over and over again. But I laughed so hard when I was sitting on the balcony this morning. Like we might not even get to all the good deeds because this woman has such great energy. So kudos to you for that and showing up fully all day long. But you were talking a lot about the communication area and sometimes just knowing your audience, right? Like as entrepreneurs, as high level professionals that have to do a lot of relationship building and are constantly making deals and wills with stakeholders and all those kind of nuances that come with it. And sometimes what trips people up is when they feel like they have not earned the position. Not
Yes.
because they haven't earned it, but it's really the imposter syndrome. Like they can't internalize all the
Yeah.
accomplishments that led them there. And
Yeah.
you've worked with major companies, Microsoft, Google, you name it. You've been there, done that, put a ball cap and a t-shirt on with them. Is that something that you're seeing a lot with a lot of the consulting that you're doing with a lot of these companies, as well as in your individual coaching, where people are dope and they are amazing, but the reason they're having communication issues is because they don't feel like they've earned the right to step into the fullness of showing up as who they are.
Absolutely. And I mean, this is something I talk about with people every single day
Yeah.
is, oh, look, I look around and, there's so many smart people or people that have accomplished more. I mean, we see, on our social media feed, everyone, all the cool stuff they're doing. And we start to say, oh, I don't have that, or why, I'm not an expert in any of these things. And I think there's a few things that I work with people on to really reframe that imposter experience, especially around when you're starting a new job, or you got a new project, or you feel like very intimidated by your peers and colleagues, is first to not only listen to the negative evidence. There's a lot of positive other evidence and data around you.
Come on.
That's showing you, right, that like, one, you were hired for this job, so somebody thought you deserved to be here at least, right? Or usually a group of people. And so first thing, owning like these different things that are happening. So first, I was hired for this job. That is true. That is a fact. That's
right. I have proof.
I have proof. Yeah,
right.
And then, this person has asked me to collaborate. This person has asked me to lead this project. Someone asked me to share my ideas. Or when I offered my ideas, people were nodding along or agreeing or interested. And I think sometimes we get caught in needing a really explicit, direct validation, like, good job, Lia, thank you for that. And we don't always get that. And we can't only seek out very specific, direct validation, because a lot of times we work with people, managers, colleagues, that think, oh, I'll only say something when something goes wrong.
Yeah.
And then we just wait and wait and wait. And we think, oh, I must, because we heard that, but we all need a little positive validation every now and then. And
Absolutely.
So we're not hearing these signals. And so I think it's about creating the signals of how am I going to recognize when I'm appreciated, and then internalizing that evidence and saying, okay, like I am contributing, I am adding value. One more thing around that is to also, especially in a large corporate environment, or really any environment, if we feel like, working in tech as a non-engineer, I felt for a long time like what do I have to offer? I don't, I'm not working on this kind of core sort of thing that the company's doing. And it was about not trying to become that, but really own my expertise and what I brought that was unique to the table. And that was about connecting with people and helping people feel included and helping people get their work done effectively. And when I started to say, wait, this is a whole expertise that like engineers don't have, like I actually complement this work. And then showing up and saying, hey, I don't know how to code, but I know how to get people to work together and get stuff done. And we work together to do all of that effectively. And when I reframed away from, should I go get another degree and do all this stuff, and said, hey, here's what I bring. And I don't need to bring what you bring, because we bring together. It's like a 1 + 1 = 3 situation.
1,000%. I'm a bit of a synergist. That might not be a real word, but I make up words all the time. So roll with it. And I'm listening to you, and I'm looking for the link between what you do, especially in the tech space. And you have a long history of that. For anyone that doesn't know, please Google her. It's very clear. With all of that history and what I do working with power couples and married women entrepreneurs. And there's an acronym, it's a little weird, that I give for all the couples when they're just having a little bit of a challenge in the communication area, and we have to reframe and do all the things. And the acronym is SHAVED. So I'm always like, did you shave your partner today? It sounds so yucky, right? But I don't mean it in a physical way. We do talk about the physical, but not this. And the SHAVE stands for seen, heard, appreciated, validated, edified, and desired. And the question is always around, like, have you shaved each other today? Because it's really important for you to not just do one thing, like, yeah, honey, I heard you, but I'm still talking. They need to be seen. And this is for men and women, regardless of the relationship dynamic. You can't assume that the man doesn't want to be seen. He does.
Yeah.
It's very clear. You can't assume that he doesn't need to be validated, right? And not just corrected, because some couples think that correction is the validation. Like, no, those backhanded compliments that happen both at work and at home, right? Like, that's not really the food that I wanted tonight, but I guess thank you, right? Like we use those little terms, and we can do the same on the corporate end or in your entrepreneurial business world. When you give these very lax compliments or statements that you think is validating, not understanding that you're backhand complimenting someone. And so they didn't feel the compliment. They only heard that you criticized them underneath. And people start to be trained to only look to you to criticize versus validating and edifying. And desire is a little bit different in the workplace for all the HR people that are joining this live and replay. We do not mean desire that way. We mean it in terms of looking forward to. I look
Yeah.
forward to Lia's presence. I look forward to a conversation. I look forward to seeing her perspectives come through because it's so well written. That's the desire that we're talking about.
I love that. I mean, think about how, you know, just right now with so many people working remotely, how invisible people are feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And using this acronym and following these steps, like how we would finally feel, like you say, seen, heard, appreciated. And I love desired because we want to know that people are looking forward to our presence, like you say,
Yes.
and not just like, this again, but like,
Tolerating,
yeah,
right?
I
Mm-hmm.
love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I could talk to you forever, but I promise to get you to your next meeting on time. I did it. I'm sorry, folks. We just have to have her back. Lia, tell everyone a little bit more about your book, like a little cap, and where they can get it and when.
Yeah, well, Unstuck right here. We find it in front of the camera. Um, Again, it's available April 5th, pre-order now. And this book dives into 12 common challenges that show up in the workplace and how to use the power of reframing to overcome them. So we dive into communication, as we talked about,
Mhm.
feedback, decision-making, negotiating. I really try to leave no stone unturned with all the struggles that I've run into in the workplace. So I think you'll enjoy
Yeah.
it.
No, this is perfect. All of you, make sure you go pre-order. I'm going to pre-order my copy for clients. I'm waiting for my signed copy.
Oh,
Hint,
yeah.
hint, to come through the mail. Leah, you are amazing as always. You're consistent and fully honoring your graciousness, your vulnerability, and your willingness to give so many gems for free. We appreciate you so
Of
much.
course. Thank you so much again. Also, a great time. And I just love working with you. Thank you.
Oh, that's perfect. I'll see you guys next week, same time, 12 p.m. Eastern, or whatever time in the world it is for you. Make sure you leave your favorite takeaway from Lia Garvin today so we can give her some kudos and love on her on LinkedIn and Twitter. Talk soon.
Thanks.